So now we have new proof that ARVs existed, alien reproduction vehicles. I've made several videos on this lately. Sightings of these things go back all the way to the 60s, if not before. And so far we've only been getting our evidence from a few sources. And here is one more. We need as many sources as possible to escape what I call the silo of information problem. This one actually comes from Project Blue Book. So let's get into it. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, and please hit the bell to be notified of future videos. And please comment below as I'm going through the story. Okay, here's the article about this Project Blue Book case number 10270. Electrogravitic propulsion spacecraft in the early, and I'll provide a link to this in the description below. In the early Wednesday's morning on March 23rd, 1966, William Eddie Laxon was driving to work as usual. He was working as an electrical engineer, electronics instructor at Shepherd Air Force Base since 1951. Approximately 10 minutes after he left his home in Templetown, Oklahoma, he turned right on U.S. Highway 70 towards Rendlett, passed the farmhouse on his left, and was forced to stop the car because in the middle of the road was parked a 75-foot, 23 meters long spacecraft. The time was 5 a.m. Yes, you read that right. The landed machine was not an airplane or a helicopter. It was a spacecraft with electrogravitic propulsion, having no wings, no propellers, no visible external engines, and no control surfaces apart from the small horizontal stabilizer at the rear. In his report for Project Blue Book, Mr. Laxon described the craft as conventional C-124 aircraft without wings or motors. Eddie Laxon was very familiar with conventional aircraft. He had over 8,000 flying hours in a single-engine aircraft, mostly as flight instructor, and he had taught an aircraft identification course at the University of Arkansas in 1942. So yeah, this is a very good witness. In short, Eddie Laxon was the perfect credible witness. Yep. 3D rendition of the sighting, courtesy of Michael Schratt and Tom Bogan. Okay, let's go see what the hell this thing looked like. What in the world are we looking at here? I mean, that's a crazy looking ship. If this is an ARV, this looks totally different from that described by Mark McClandish. So, that is interesting to note. However, it does seem to be piloted by human beings. So let's move on. Let's see. Here we go. Here's another schematic of the thing. And here's where it was in relation to the road and the farmhouse. And you can, examine that at your leisure if you want to check out the link. Yeah, so after Eddie hit the brakes and stopped at approximately 50 yards from the fish-shaped spacecraft, he got out of the car and started running towards the mystery craft. He saw a man, crew member or pilot, standing next to the spacecraft. The man was dressed in green Air Force fatigue-type uniform, wore a baseball tan cap, and had chevrons on his sleeve. The man was about 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighed about 180 pounds. Mr. Laxon was only 80 feet away, estimating the man's age at about 30, and reported that the insignias on his sleeves looked like U.S. Air Force stripes. Significantly, Eddie Laxon noticed the electrogravitic vehicle had the insignia TL4138 or TL4738 on its side. He quickly jotted down the numerals in the dirt at the edge of the roadway, but couldn't be certain of the second digit after returning to copy them on paper. In the meantime, the mystery man pilot bolted into the spacecraft and took off. The machine went straight up for about 50 feet and without turning or banking accelerated to approximately 720 miles per hour. Pretty fast, heading towards Red River. Eddie Laxon described the sound as high-pitched electric drill. When the electrogravitic vehicle rose in the air, it seemed to have a magnetic effect on the hair on Laxton's arms. The reader familiar with the Bayfield-Brown effect, the work of Thomas Townsend Brown, with his patents, and you can see the numbers, and with the research work of Igor Witkowski, won't be surprised. Mr. Michael Schratt shared publicly his beautiful summary drawing. Okay, let's check that out. Interesting. The Temple Torpedo. 75 feet. Height was only 8 feet. Width is 12 feet. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, anything interesting in here? More interesting, the primary witness stopped 300 feet from the craft. Yeah. It made no sonic boom as it departed. Okay, interesting. I guess that is a good detail to have. I mean, it looks nothing at all. It looks nothing at all like the ARVs described by Mark McClandish. They describe it as being electrogravitic. We don't know what their energy source is. The Mark McClandish information is that it uses 0 point energy. However, I did a video a week or two ago describing a way that this could all be man-made, or at least the ARVs could all be man-made, and not based on reverse engineering alien technology. And so always, good to keep in mind these alternate ways it could have gone down. Yeah, is this, because there's different ways this could have happened, right? There are, we were given this technology by the beings in exchange for possibly letting them abduct people. That's one way it could have gone down. There's the other way it could have gone down, where we developed this on our own. And this probably came out of the whole Tesla, that era of exploring electricity. And there was this guy that had this idea for electrogravitic propulsion, and he kept on getting denied. Nobody wanted to pursue it until after the 1952 flyover of Washington, D.C. And then all of a sudden they wanted to do something about this situation. And so they hired him, and they started to develop this stuff. So, that could have been another way that it went down. If true, that timeline works out very well for them to have functioning craft in the 60s. Another alternate way 3 it could have gone down is if we completely reverse engineered alien ships, from Roswell and other crashes. And this is the result of that. Now, that doesn't quite make sense if, they were still tinkering with these things in the 80s and 90s, the Bob Lazar type of information. So, but very, very interesting. Below is transcribed text of the newspaper article published in the Loudoun Constitution describing 2 more witnesses of the spacecraft. Air Force quizzes Temple Man on flying fish-shaped object. I don't know how much of this I want to read. An electronics instructor said today the Air Force was interested in his story of a mysterious fish-shaped object and uniformed pilot, which he said landed on US 70 south of here early Wednesday morning. Laxton, he said he'd been contacted by Air Force officials. Let's see, is there anything interesting or new in this article? You saw the guy in Air Force fatigue clothing. That makes sense, of course, that it would be the Air Force doing it. But does it? Because obviously it would be the Air Force pursuing reverse engineering the alien technology at Area 51 and likely other places, and overseeing crash retrievals around the world, or at least heavily involved in that. So why, it's interesting that if this is true, that they may have been pursuing a parallel course in these advanced flying craft. And why did they need to reverse engineer the alien technology if they already had these craft? So why is there an Area 51 if they were already flying these things in the 60s? I'm not doubting that they did. I think I've shown enough evidence at this point in the last few videos I've made on this to see that there's disparate sources showing this stuff, so it doesn't fall victim to the silo of information problem. This is coming from multiple sources, all confirming roughly the same thing, that we've had man-made UFOs since the 60s. But man, what does that mean? What does that mean, guys? I would love your thoughts on this. How does it all go together? Why would we have man-made UFOs in the 60s and still be reverse engineering alien technology to presumably create our own UFOs in the 80s? How does that make sense? What's going on? Maybe the reverse engineered alien technology could do stuff that our own man-made craft could not? Was this technology given to us by the beings in exchange for abductions? If so, what were we doing with this technology? We didn't seem to use it in wars, otherwise we wouldn't have lost Vietnam. So if we weren't using this for military applications, what were we using it for? If we were using it to help the beings with space battles, a la the secret space fleet, why does it keep showing up on Earth, in a farm field? I don't know, guys. This is a crazy situation, a crazy case. But yeah, I do think that the ARVs are real. There seems to be different types of ARVs, the round, classic flying saucer type ARVs, as shown by Mark McClandish. But there's also these other crazy looking craft, this fish-shaped craft, and presumably others. What does it mean, guys? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Please smash the subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. Please join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. And please, if you enjoy these videos, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. See the first line in the description below, and there's 2 tiers of membership to receive exclusive access in videos. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road.